Mercy Ume, and I'll be chairing tonight's meeting. If I lose connection, Councillor Daly will take over for me. Before we begin, there are some housekeeping points to cover. This meeting is being streamed on YouTube channel.
Hi, it's Charlotte Dexter. I just wanted to say I'm on a licensing hearing and the conservative has not shown up and hasn't apologized, so maybe there's some confusion. It's Councillor Absol Daly or whatever her name is.
Charlotte, you're not on mute. Could you please mute yourself?
Yeah, sorry. My apologies.
Thank you, Charlotte. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube channel, and by taking part, you are consenting to be recorded. Please, can I ask the officers to introduce themselves before speaking for the first time, and would like everyone please to use their microphone. We move to item 1 on the agenda. Apologies for absence. Did we receive any apologies? Because I haven't seen
no apologies for absence.
Okay. Item 2, declaration of interest. Do members have any declaration of interest? Okay, Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to mention that I made a representation in my role as councillor on behalf of residents in Addison Ward who are objecting to a variation application by the same applicant last year at another location. I can also say this is a new and separate application in another location, and therefore I have an open mind and it will not affect my decision making.
Our legal advisor, is that okay?
Yes, Chair, yeah.
Okay, in that case, thank you, Councillor. Now, item 3, that is Sainsbury Units 4A, Kings Road Park, Sands End Lane, London. I would like to ask everyone participating to introduce yourself as I call on you. We should have with us Robert, which is law agent. Robert.
Yes, good evening. My name is Robert Bockeye and I'm the solicitor representing Sainsbury's. I have with me Libby Cohen, who's our trainee solicitor, who's making notes, and she'll only participate if I fall off my chair.
Thank you. We have Joanna, the applicant.
Yes, good evening, Chair. My name is Joanne Serga. I'm the licensing manager for Sainsbury's.
Thank you. We have Neil, our licensing officer. Neil
Good evening. Good evening, Chair. Present. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Emmanuel, the council legal officer.
Present, Chair. And I have a colleague, Safa Hussein, who's also on the call from legal department, observing.
Thank you, Safa. You are welcome. Okay. We have objectors. We have Charlotte Dexter. And Charlotte, you're objecting on behalf of 2 other people, Caroline Soffel and Caroline Bromman-White. Is that?
That's correct. Good evening, Chair.
Good evening. Okay. Thanks. Before we consider the application today, may I confirm that in addition to the main agenda, supplementary agenda A, B, and C were published on 20th November, 24th November, and 25th of November, 2025. I will quickly explain the procedure the committee will follow. We will hear from the following. The licensing officer will introduce the application, the objectors, and finally, the applicant. Usually, each party will address the committee for a maximum of 5 minutes, Following the presentation by all parties, the committee may ask questions of any party or other person present at the hearing, except committee members. No party has the right to ask questions to any other party at any time during the hearing. Following the presentation and questioning, each party will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to sum up their case or representation. The committee will then retire for deliberation. Upon its return, I will announce committee's decision. Can I ask the presenting officer, Neil, to present the application?
Thank you, Chair. On 2nd of October 25, the Licensing Authority received an application for a new premise licence in respect of Sainsbury's Unit 4A, Kings Road Park, London, submitted by Winkworth Sherwood on behalf of Sainsbury's Supermarkets Limited. The application for a new premise licence to allow the retail sale of alcohol each day can be seen as Appendix 1, which is page 15 of your agenda pack. A map showing the premises location and neighbouring licensed premises is shown as Appendix 2, which is page 34. It is our understanding the premises are being constructed and still not fully reflected on the Licensing Authority GIS system. Our planning colleagues have advised public access will be via Sands End Road. Representations opposing the licence can be seen as Appendix 3, which is page 40 of your packs. Further agreed conditions by Sainsbury's and the police can be seen as Supplementary Agenda A. Further residential comments by objectors can be seen as Supplementary Agenda B. Sainsbury's agreed further football conditions with the police, and these can be seen as Supplementary Agenda C. Chair, in determining this application, the subcommittee must have regards to the representations and take one of the following steps as it considers necessary for the promotion of the licensing objectives. And Chair, the options available to you tonight are to grant the application in full, grant the application in part, modifying the proposed hours, activities or conditions, or to reject the application, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, we go to objector. Charlotte, you have 15 minutes because you are representing yourself and 2 other people, 2 Carolines. So 15 minutes on total to speak.
Sorry,
Okay,
Chair.
thank you.
Can I just clarify, Chair? So the applicant is getting 5 minutes.
Yes, on each person. But because she's speaking on behalf of 2 other members that were not able to come, so she has to speak on their behalf, giving them 5 minutes each, including herself, making it 15 minutes.
Okay. Could I take the full name of the other individuals that Ms. Dexter is representing, so that I know, and the page in the committee report that the representations are contained?
I haven't got the page report.
Robert, I can sort that out for you.
Okay.
Thank you. It's just that I need to know what the representations say in order that.
Didn't they get the notes as well from Caroline Suffrey and Caroline Broomman White? I can't remember the page. I can't remember the page.
No, that's okay, Chair. But they must have they made written representations?
That's correct. They did. That's why they're on it. If not, I won't allow them to speak. I won't allow her to speak on their behalf. They did.
Chair, can I assist there? The representations are from page 40.
Thank you.
So where are the 2? Because there's no names on in the papers. It doesn't really help me. So which page? So which page numbers are the representations in the report?
So because we have to redact the representations, including name and email, that wouldn't stand out immediately to you, Robert. But there are. You've got page 40.
No, I know.
Page 42.
Sorry, am I able to call you Charlotte? Charlotte, is that right? Can I address you as Charlotte, or you?
Yeah, I'm Charlotte. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Charlotte. Do you happen to know, because you're representing the 2 people? Do you know which pages their representations appear in the
Excuse me,
committee.
Robert, can I stop you there? I can't ask Charlotte question. Are you doubting that these people did not make any representation? Is that what you are doubting? Our office have already told you they did, and we can send you the copy at the end of this meeting. If their full name and address and their email, if that is okay with you. But you don't ask Charlotte those, because that's not her. You are not allowed to ask Charlotte any question.
Okay, I was trying
Charlotte
to.
is not allowed to ask you a question.
Well, Charlotte's. Well, I don't object to any questions that Charlotte may have of me, but I'm trying. Can I just speak for a moment, because we need to get the process clear. Maybe Emmanuel can help, please, because you can speak. An objector can speak to their representation, and they can expand, but they must stay within the realms of their representation. So unless we know what the representation is, we don't know what the extent of Charlotte's 15 minutes can represent. Emmanuel, are you able to assist?
Yeah, so because they are not able to attend, Charlotte is speaking on their behalf. They've made written representations, which is already in the report. Each of their representations are in the report, although the names are not behind either one of them to identify who said what. All those representations are within the report. So what Charlotte is doing here is just giving a verbal representation of what's already been written in the report.
Well, yeah, but we've read that, so
yes.
Presumably we've read what's in the report. So if Charlotte is going to expand on that, we need to know which representation she is expanding.
Well, Charlotte, whilst you're speaking, are you able to basically relate what you're saying on behalf of each representative that you're speaking on behalf of? Then that would help clarify things.
Neil, can I just say, would you be able to find out what page numbers the representations are on and email Robert now?
Yes,
that might be the best way forward. But you can confirm that they have made valid representations.
Yeah, so we have 3 reps. Obviously, the reps are redacted for security, and they are from between pages 40 to 45.
Right. Okay.
And may I ask that on those emails they sent, they said that they want Charlotte to speak on their behalf, and we have agreed on that because they sent that email.
That's confirmed.
So is that okay with you, Robert? Can Charlotte have her 15 minutes?
Sorry, it's not my decision. All I'm asking, if you can make a note that if you wouldn't mind making a note, then that I've requested to know what pages the representations are. I don't want to hold things up. I appreciate everybody wants to get on with it, but I don't see how Charlotte can speak to a representation and we don't know which is the representation. It's a very simple point. I didn't expect it to cause any issues. If she's speaking for somebody, we need to know what that somebody said in their representation. I don't know which one it is.
Okay, so are you asking that if for 5 minutes, Charlotte speak for herself 5 minutes, and then speak for another for Caroline 5 minutes, and the other Caroline Broom White's 5 minutes? Is that what you're asking, or you want her to represent them separately?
No, I'm just asking which page number in the report.
And we have told you the page number. The page number has been set to you.
Well, no, that's page 40 to 45, but that's got a number of representation. Anyway, why don't we just carry on? But I'll certainly we're making a note of that. I don't know which pages the representations are on, but by all means, I didn't mean to detain you or ask difficult questions. I just thought you'd know, as a committee, or officers would know which page the party's representation appears in. So maybe if Neil finds it, he'll be able to email me or message me. Thank you.
Okay, Neil, you will send him is it possible you send it to him now? Is it possible?
Chair, we normally redact names.
I know we
and
do.
even addresses, so we
I
seem
know
to be going
that.
round in circles,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yes. We know
Chair,
Okay.
Chair, I'm
Okay.
unclear now. I understood that there were 3 representations and that Charlotte is speaking to all 3 representations. Am I wrong? That was my understanding.
That's
And the
my
3
understanding.
representations are between pages of 40 and 45.
That's
In which
correct.
case, Mr. Botkai, surely all 3 of those representations in your pack are being represented by.
If it's all 3, if Charlotte is representing all 3, then fine. And I'll just make a note that I don't know which Caroline is which representation. I suggest that we just carry on.
Yes, Chair, can we just proceed because it's been noted, Robert, so we can if we can proceed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Charlotte, please. You have 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So I will reveal that my representation is page 42 and 43 and 44. So the other 2 representations, I guess I'm not supposed to say their names, so I can't, but they both basically talk about what I'm going to talk about, so I'm not going to go beyond what they say. Okay, so my representation is on page 42, and the committee will have noted that there's a link to the Barclay Group information that shows a map that's important, that it's in front of you, the green map. So it's about 5 pages down when you go into that link. So I just wanted to say that at the start, so we're all looking at the same map when I talk about it, the plan of this residential area. So I think the key word for tonight is really that this is a residential area. It's off of residential roads. And clearly, the big word tonight is a park. And the whole idea of this residential area is to bring back the greenery and the life of what was there really before the Imperial Gas Works, in the sense of very green, very full of pleasant trees and life, including commercial units that will service the area, and including, of course, Sainsbury's. So it was, first of all, it was unfortunate, I find, that the committee is not given the information of where this place is in the pack. So I had to find that out myself. But anyway, I rang and found out where it's going to be. So looking at that map, you'll see, can I ask, does everybody have the map, or am I just speaking to? Yeah, okay.
I don't have the map. I have the committee report. So I don't know which map is.
Yes,
but
so
again,
on page 42 of the committee report, there's a link. There's a link to go to see this map. Under point 1.
I can see the link. I don't know whether the committee has.
Yes. Councillor, really, you saw the map?
Yep, I'm looking at the map. Thank you.
Okay, so on the map you can see the Windsor building, and below that is a road. That's Sands End Road. So that's where the entrance will be, and that portion is Sands End Road. It's unclear how long that road will actually have that name. But anyway, that's the first thing that's important for the committee tonight to know and understand where Sands End Road is. And then below the Windsor building, which is where it was explained to me by Barclay that that's where the Sainsbury commercial presence will be. So, just as you're coming in, there it is. It makes a lot of sense. Across from it is a building, sort of a square thing that doesn't have a name on it. That's the Valor House. That's the Oswald Stoll house. apartment building. Below that is a piece of green, which is a war memorial, which was put up in the Imperial Works time, so to say, and a park kind of green. And then below that is the National Grid property. And below that, importantly, is Imperial Road. Now, only today was it confirmed to me about this, that Chelsea Football Club uses this road, as you know, because if you walk by there on game days, there are a lot of coaches there. So they have an agreement with the council for up to 20 coaches, and coaches hold between 40 and 70 people, so 60 people. So 1,800 people file out of these coaches, walk down Imperial Road, or they might decide to walk through this park, go to Sainsbury's on their way, and then they walk left towards Fulham Broadway Station and up through Moore Park Road and so on. And they get to the club in about 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. But that's an important consideration tonight for just to know that there is that movement of people from Imperial Road, and they'll have new opportunities. And I just passed by it yesterday, you will be able to get in through from Imperial Road into this new park residential area. And the residential area is for 1,847 people, 247 people. So we're just basically concerned about three things tonight, all three people who I'm representing, myself included, and I'm representing myself as well as my own residents in my road who frequent this and are looking forward to bicycling down here and using this park in this area and getting a sandwich at Sainsbury's, etc. The big concern for us, and I'm also representing people who didn't want to make representations, and this is a problem that we have. But
Sorry,
no one
Emmanuel, are you able to assist? I don't wish to interrupt. I'm not clear now who Charlotte is actually representing. I thought she was here to represent herself and two other individuals, not the whole community. And that was new information about the football coaches as well. It's not in the papers. Can we just have some clarity? This is why it's so much easier in person, but I know we're online and it does cause some confusion.
Charlotte, are you able to please just stick to your representation and the two other representation that you're speaking on behalf of?
Okay, the redaction doesn't help. I mean, I sent in this representation as Charlotte Dexter, Barclay Road residents. That's what the lawyer is trying to find
yes,
out.
you've
He
identified.
can't see that information.
But you've already identified your representation in the pack, which is pages 41 to 42.
I know, but you're looking at a pack and please, this can't take away my time. Yeah. You're looking at a pack. For you, it's not redacted. For the solicitor on behalf of Sainsbury's, everything he's seeing is redacted, as far as I know. Therein lies the dilemma.
Yes.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Okay.
Charlotte, carry on.
Okay. So, all right, I'll just use the word I, so I don't get in trouble with the solicitor, all right? I'm concerned about the people in Valor House. The people in Valor House used to live at the Oswald Stowe Foundation, where my GP surgery is. I went there. I've been going there for 35 years. And on many occasions when one was there, there'd be an emergency, and the GP surgery sort of acted almost as an emergency room for the Oswald Stowe Foundation apartments. Now, these are very vulnerable people. A lot of them have PTSD. A lot of them have unfortunate addictions and so on. Some of them don't have those problems. But the Oswald Stowe Foundation, if you click through to the information, is all about vulnerable veterans, not just veterans, but vulnerable veterans. And without going into detail about more than what I've said, I feel, well, I'm going to say we, I mean, I am representing a few other people. We feel that allowing alcohol to be sold very early in the morning and very late at night would not help these neighbors in this residential community, this new residential community, in any way or form. And we think that Sainsbury's maybe should consider making an exception to their, usual way of doing things, and consider that these people maybe shouldn't be able to just walk across the street and get a drink at 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's one of our big concerns. Secondly, this is, as we said, it's a residential area. And although on page 5, the officer wrote that it's a mixed use area. Well, yes, it is, because it is to some extent, but it's overwhelmingly residential. There'll be families here, there'll be children here. There are vulnerable veterans who have made their home here. And we'd like Sainsbury's and the committee to consider a later hour for starting alcohol sales and an earlier hour to close. Now, this whole area has planning permission, as everybody knows, and we don't discuss a lot about planning and licensing, but the planning hours for this are 7 a.m. to 2200. So it doesn't help if we have misaligned hours and start having lots of conversations afterwards with the applicant and so on. So we'd appreciate that those hours are aligned as required in the Section 182 guidance. So that would be important tonight for the committee and for us to discuss or sum up about. I'm not summing up, Chair, at the moment.
No.
So I think it would have been helpful if Sainsbury's had done a bit of a risk assessment about this area, because then they would have thought a bit about this Imperial Road and the coaches and the fans coming through, the future use of this park by fans after they've come back this way towards their buses and might decide to take a walk around the park and so on, and whether alcohol should be sold at that time or not. I know you've discussed some of these things with the police, but because it wasn't very clear where the actual building is and so on, I'm not convinced that the police really took much into consideration, but perhaps you can tell us more about that and what maps you showed them, etc. One possibility also to look at from the residential nature of this new residential park living area would be to limit deliveries by scooters, whether third parties or your own deliveries, after, say, 9 o'clock at night. If you're going to be closing at 10 per the planning hours, still it would be nice, especially for these veterans, to maybe not hear scooters and beeping and guys, listening to their rap sessions and arguing with each other. And the typical delivery economy dilemmas that we have all over London and especially in Fulham. My neighbor, or the other two people that I'm representing, brought up that the Tesco and the other grocery shops that are close by, including some off licenses and so on, they all close. I mean, they're not 24 hours. So you've put on your application that you're looking at opening 24 hours as far as opening hours go, and then you're talking about licensing hours. So it's unclear to me why you're mentioning 24 hours when you're actual hours are different as far as the permissions that have already been given here for this area and for these commercial buildings. So it would be helpful to understand that for me and for the two people that I'm representing, and I'm sure it would be helpful for the committee. Just looking further here. Yeah, so the other thing would be just to keep into consideration that the committee considers children coming and going, and sort of what will become quite a family nature to some extent, because a lot of these apartments will be 2 and 3 bedroom apartments, and a good amount of them will be affordable housing, which means that the council will be giving people opportunities to live here as well. And so we want you to really think about this being a very residential area, and people have to sleep at night and so on. So that's why I've mentioned these various things that unfortunately we didn't have. I did ask to speak with Sainsbury's, but nobody contacted me. So we didn't have the opportunity to speak with Sainsbury's as residents. So we're asking for these things now. So basically, we're asking for you to consider the veterans across the street from you, to not have any kind of deliveries at all, unless they're bicycles, not electric. Electric makes noise, perhaps bicycles, but anyway, from 9 p.m. perhaps no more deliveries and not early morning, especially for vulnerable people who can order a delivery of something that maybe they don't really need. Consider children, the family aspect. Consider that these coaches are coming. Well, just consider generally the area. The area is full of a lot of football fans, almost twice a week. Often now the kickoffs are at 8:15. It's quite late at night as well. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Now, can I ask the applicant to speak? You have 15 minutes. So I don't know whether it's Joanna going to speak or Robert. So.
No, well, it's me, but Joanna may be able to help. So do I have 15 minutes or 5 minutes? You told me before I have 5
minutes. Because she had 15, you are going to have 15 minutes.
Okay, all right, thank you. I don't expect to take the full 15, so there's some good news. Thank you. So this is an application for a new premises license. It's maybe easier to say what this application is not. It's not an application for 24-hour trading. It does cause some confusion, and we do sometimes get this. We've applied for a license for 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. But in the application form, for reasons best known to the government or whoever drafted the form in 2005, by the way, it's happy 20th anniversary to the Licensing Act at the moment. But when the form came in, one of the issues that we raised at the time was that it was asking what are the likely opening hours as opposed to the alcohol hours. So we don't apply for opening hours, but it just wants to know what are the likely opening hours. It's a very confusing part of the form. So for the last 20 years, we've put in there in virtually every application we do, we put in a note in 000 to 2400, but please leave opening hours to planning, because it's a planning map. The actual opening hours, the trading hours of a store are down to planning as opposed to licensing. But that does cause confusion because that doesn't appear on the blue notice. And word gets round that Sainsbury's is applying for a 24-hour store. We have not applied for a 24-hour store. We are not applying for a 24-hour store. We are simply asking for a premises license for 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Which brings me on to the planning permission, and I don't deal with the planning. In fact, Sainsbury's aren't dealing with the planning either. It's been dealt with by the developer. And my understanding is that there is an application going through the process at the moment to change the restriction that Charlotte referred to allow an 11 p.m. terminal hour and slightly shorter hours on Sundays. But that's not been determined yet. So far, I did check today, and we still don't have a determination of that application. So any representations on opening times are for the planning application and the experts on the planning application rather than for this evening. So the 7-Eleven is a bit of an umbrella, and that's perfectly normal as well. So we hope to trade 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 6 days a week, and then Sundays we would be complying with Sunday trading regulations anyway. And as things stand, unless the government changes something in the Sunday Trading Act, we can choose 6 hours between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. on a Sunday. We can choose which 6 hours we wish to operate. But it's perfectly normal for a Sainsbury's license to be 7-Eleven 7 days a week. But we know perfectly well that we still have to apply it. So it doesn't cause any confusion. Whichever has got the tougher hours, we have to comply with. So even if we had a 24-hour license that we're not applying to, and if planning says you can only open 7 to 11, we have to abide by the planning rules. And the same with Sunday trading. The vast majority of our stores will have a license for 7 to 11, or even longer, 6 to 12, many of the supermarkets. But because of the Sunday trading laws, we can only actually open for 6 hours on the Sunday for the larger stores, and this is one of them. So I hope that clarifies a little bit at the hours. We're not applying for a 24-hour license here, and we're not going to be open 24 hours. We've put in a robust operating schedule, and we've had discussions with the police. Now, I'm sure that Charlotte didn't mean to suggest that the police didn't know where the store is. The police do know where the store is. And we've had discussions with them. We originally agreed some conditions relating to the football matches. Joanne and I then went down to the premises and had a walk around. We spoke to the manager of the office there, responsible for the development, and then we contacted the police again and agreed an alternative condition, which you've got in your papers, which is that we will risk assess the need for security arrangements on match days. So rather than stipulate, so we do have stores which are close to some of the stadia, which are certainly affected by match day. So Wembley Stadium, Charlton Athletic, and numerous other stadia around the country where we have conditions. But this one, it was felt after discussion with the police that we're unlikely to be on the route of the football fans, and therefore we shouldn't have the conditions which require us to take the steps on every occasion, but we'll risk assess, and that risk assessment will be available to the police, and we'll communicate with the police. I don't believe there are matches twice a week, and they don't normally kick off at 8:15. They're either 7:40 evening kickoffs at 7:45 or 8 p.m. And it will be an unusual week where Chelsea have got two home fixtures in a week. But it's something we're very aware of. We know that we're in the proximity of the football ground, but we don't expect this to be an attractive location for football fans on their way to the game or on the way back from the games. There are some 1,800 homes being built here, so it's more than 1,800 people are going to be living here. It's a fabulous development of which the council should be very proud. The request for on third-party deliveries is a difficult one, because a lot of that will be controlling things outside of the license, because we don't just deliver alcohol. We're not a liquor store, so to speak. So people can order, and we haven't got an arrangement in place yet for delivery from the store. We don't even know, or Joanne doesn't even know whether we will have the delivery service from this particular location. But if we do, you can order babies' nappies or milk or whatever it is you may wish, and alcohol is just one of those products. So to restrict deliveries for alcohol to different hours would cause confusion and difficulty, because the orders might need to be split. Somebody might order a pizza and a bottle of wine, and we would only be able to deliver the pizza before a certain time or after a certain time. So I would ask you not to restrict the deliveries. Obviously, the deliveries can only take place during the hours that the store is open, and alcohol deliveries would be taking place, or orders would be accepted during the alcohol hours. So it is important to us that we have the full hours that we've requested. So the condition that's been agreed with your police licensing officer is that the license holder will risk assess the need for additional measures, including security guard presence, to be taken on days when Chelsea Football Club men's first team are playing home matches at Stamford Bridge. So it's very carefully worded, very carefully agreed with the police licensing officer. She's content with that wording, and I would ask that that's the condition that you are imposing in relation to the football supporters. We are, of course, aware of the veterans who live or will live in the locality. There is no evidence that they are going to be seeking out alcohol at 7 o'clock in the morning, as suggested by Charlotte. And if they want to get alcohol at that time or any earlier, in fact, they even as per Charlotte's representation, there are licenses 6 a.m. in the immediate vicinity anyway. So there are plenty of places to buy alcohol early, and so earlier than we are applying for, and later than we are applying for, and possibly cheaper. And they can, of course, as in anywhere in London, they can order for delivery pretty much 24 hours a day in most locations if they wish to. So it's really not about the times, it's about the responsibility and responsible retailing. And I probably should have introduced Joanne properly. Joanne, apologies, Joanne. Joanne is responsible for all of Sainsbury's licensing around England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and has been in position for many years. She's also part of the Retail of Alcohol Standards Group, and she works closely with the other major operators, supermarkets, to ensure high standards are applied within the store. So she's very happy to talk to you or answer any questions that you may have about training and about responsible retailing, which would apply here. So all of the store colleagues will be trained. Part of their training is age verification and also checking for signs of intoxication, not selling to somebody who is intoxicated. And if the store is informed of particular individuals who the police, for example, would ask us not to sell alcohol to, then we can take steps, but we need to do that properly and fairly in working in partnership with the police, and that does happen elsewhere. We don't put wanted posters around the store. The store colleagues are properly trained to take appropriate measures. They also they have a number of body-worn cameras now in stores to protect the store colleagues, because you will have seen in the press, and I know it's something that Joe deals with quite a lot, the unfortunate abuse that store colleagues get in certain locations. So their safety is very important to Sainsbury's, but we don't expect that to be a particular problem here. The vast majority of the trade for this store is going to come from the 1,800 homes that are being constructed. We don't expect people to be coming off Imperial Road, off the main road, to come and find Sainsbury's, because they've got plenty of offers on the main road. This store is very much there to service the community. policy, your statement of licensing policy does state that every application must be dealt with on its merits, and it's normal policy to provide alcohol at any times when the retail outlet is open for shopping, unless there are good reasons based on licensing objectives to restrict those hours. So should there be evidence regarding street drinking, child protection, community of impact, antisocial behaviour, public nuisance and disorder, then you may restrict those hours. You haven't got any evidence of that whatsoever in these papers. What you have from Charlotte is a concern. I'm not disrespecting that concern, but a concern that the veterans may be exposed to alcohol at an earlier time than would be ideal. But we don't have any evidence of that. So in terms of your policy, there's no evidence of street drinking. There's no evidence of community of impact. No evidence of antisocial behaviour, public nuisance or disorder. And very importantly, the police, who are your experts on crime and disorder, they're not objecting to this application. There's no objection from Environmental Health or from any of your other responsible authorities, and they are your experts. So those are the that is really the application. I probably haven't timed myself. Well, I haven't timed myself. I haven't used up my 15 minutes. Otherwise, the bell would have gone. Very happy to answer any questions that you may have, and as is Joanne. But thank you, and grateful you would grant the license as sought.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you. Now, committee question. Can I ask committee member to ask questions of any party about the application and the issues that has been raised at this hearing in relation to 4 licensing objectives? 1, the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, the protection of children from harm. Please. Councillor Daly, do you have any question?
Thank you, Chair. I do. Can I ask Neil some questions first off, please?
Oh, Councillor.
Hi, Neil. A couple of questions for you. For the purpose of policy 3, is this location treated as residential or mixed use areas?
That'll be mixed, Councillor.
Okay, and so can you confirm the recommended closing time for the area?
Just one second. It's mentioned in the policy table. Just one second. Let me have a look.
I think it's 23. I think it's 11. But I just want to just confirm with
you.
you.
I don't want to say a time and it's not correct. One second. Sorry.
Page 22.
Yeah. So if you go to page 8 of the pack, it's 2,300 hours daily.
Thank you. Can you tell me if there are any comparable supermarket or off-license hours in the immediate vicinity that we should be aware of?
Chair, I kind of preempted your question, and if we just flip to page 36, if that's convenient for you. Most of the premises close at 2,300 hours, which obviously mirrors the application that we've received. There are premises, like Robert's quietly said, that are open much earlier. For instance, Tesco in that vicinity is open at 6.
Okay, and do we hold any complaints or evidence of nuisance around those premises that could inform our decision? Any noise nuisance or problems with antisocial behaviour?
Chair, Councillor, to answer that question fully, I'd have to go into each individual licensing record and pull that information out, but you wouldn't, well, it'd be very difficult to sort of reflect that on the new application today, because they wouldn't have any relevance to it.
Okay, thank you. Are you satisfied that the revised match day condition reflects the police's concerns, or would you be recommending anything additional?
I think the operating schedule is robust, and then on top of that, the applicant has also sought another 4 robust conditions with the police, which are in the supplementary bundles.
All right, lovely. Thank you. Chair, may I ask the applicant some questions?
Please do. That's, ask anybody.
Thanks very much. So I'm guessing that Robert will be answering these, or would it be Joanne? But let me ask them, and you can decide as you go. Okay. The national guidance expects applicants to understand their local area, so including things like proximity to places where vulnerable people may live or congregate. Could you just talk us through how you have assessed this particular location and include kind of Valor House, the hostel, the Rose Pub, nearby off licenses, and what risks, if any, you identified when you did that?
I'll start, and then Joanne, there is a whole paper that has to be submitted to the board, but it's not something I would ever present at a licensing committee. So there are acquisition surveyors. They have to present a paper to the board. It's a bit like a sausage machine, and all of the information has to go into that sausage machine, and then it gets churned around, and eventually they either get a green light or they don't. And there are lots of factors that go into there. They look at the chimney pots, number of chimney pots. They look at risks for in terms of cumulative impact. We always check the licensing policies to make sure that.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I understand you're saying that this is what normally happens. I'm asking really specifically. Do you have the kind of the risk assessment that or any risks that were identified for this particular location, please?
Well, I don't have them with me, no, because it's not something that we would be asked for as part of the licensing process. It's not one of the documents that we are asked to submit. So there's no obvious concern. Just because it's obviously been raised now by an interested party about vulnerable residents, but there are lots of Sainsbury's that are close to schools, to hospitals, to care homes, to we are in residential. The vast majority of the stores are in residential areas or mixed use areas. This is no different in that respect. So I wouldn't have expected Sainsbury's to consider the presence of the veterans as high risk. Certainly compared to other locations that they operate perfectly safely in. Joe, is there anything that you would like to add on
that? Not really. It's not a question that we've ever been asked before, Robert. But as Robert alluded to, there is a huge board paper that goes to the board, and the demographics of the area are looked at for every site that we open. But we do, as a responsible retailer, we take all of those measures in place. And as Robert said, we do operate in areas where there are lots of hostels, shelters, schools, and our colleagues are all trained, and we've got responsible colleague actually positions in store to look out for those vulnerable people, and we do like to work with the community. It's something that we do, and it's part of our corporate responsibility.
Okay, sure, thank you. Can I just clarify? You did get to see the representations before, so you saw that these kind of issues were going to be brought up, though. That is Neil? That's right. They've seen the representations. They've read the same things that we have about the sort of very local issues. Is that right?
Yes, Councillor. The pack gets circulated.
We have seen it, and we visited the area, and we've asked questions in the area, but there's no representation from the particular organisation that is responsible for the veterans, and we'd be very happy to have discussions with anybody who is responsible for the accommodation, and to maintain a dialogue moving forwards. That it's probably not something that could be conditioned because they're not party to the application, but it's certainly something that we would be very happy to take back and make sure we've got that dialogue moving forward. After all, they will be our customers. We sell other things than alcohol. We want to be good neighbours.
Yeah, forgive me, Robert. I'm just kind of trying to surface all of the kind of the issues, and
That's right.
you know, you can approach all of this in sort of the summing up, and I'm sure that Charlotte would like to as well. But forgive me, I just think it's sort of my role to ask questions and brings a degree of scrutiny.
It's a good question, and I was giving you the answer, so it's no problem at all.
Okay, great. In Annex 1, I think that there is we're expecting off licenses near hostels to have strong alcohol controls. You've mentioned Challenge 25 and staff training. Is there anything, given the proximity to a hostel, is there anything you're proposing here to avoid exacerbating harmful drinking? Or is it just a standard Sainsbury's rollout?
When you say hostel, do you mean the accommodation for veterans? Is that the hostel you're referring to?
I understand that there is a hostel in the area. I can go back and ask Charlotte for a little bit more detail on that. But in the representations, we've heard about kind of people with alcohol dependency in the area. And I just wondered if there was anything beyond the kind of the standard Challenge 25 and the standard training that you would consider, you have considered.
Well, yes. I mean, it's part of the training for the cashiers to look for the signs of intoxication and not to serve anybody who appears to be intoxicated. You do have to be careful with that. It requires good judgment because people with certain illnesses or disabilities can actually sometimes appear to be intoxicated. So care has to be taken, and that's part of the training that the store colleagues get. They also work in some areas with the police. If there are known individuals that the police alert the store to, then sales can be refused to those individuals. And ultimately, in really challenging situations, we can issue banning orders, letters to individuals, keeping for them to not have access to the store. But Jo, is there anything else on that question that you can help with?
I would just say that if there is a hostel in the area and the hostel manager wants to speak to our area manager because they've got concerns, then we're open to having those conversations.
Great, thank you. Robert, specifically about the football fans and match day, your assessment or the assessment that you've received is that it's not necessarily on a high traffic area for Stamford Bridge. Lovely, I'll take that. But it is possible for football fans to choose to drink at the Rose pub, which is quite nearby. Can you just reassure that you will actually operate the agreed sort of risk assessment conditions? And then just let me know who carries out the kind of that risk assessment. What is it for you that triggers any extra security? And what does staff do? Maybe one for Joanne. What does staff do in practice to prevent any alcohol related disorder under those circumstances, please?
Okay, so I'll start if that's right. I'm trying to find my notes as to what we originally had, because it was purely done on the map. We had the police had asked for conditions. Just bring up the conditions that would have required us to have no glass on match days, and take other steps on match days. Sorry, I found it. So the police had originally asked us for no sales of alcohol in glass containers for 2 hours before kick-off and 1 hour afterwards, and to have no alcohol stacked close to the entrance, and security guards to be employed on match days. And we had originally agreed those, and after our store visit, we had another conversation with the police, and they agreed to withdraw those conditions on the basis that we risk assess, because we don't believe that those are quite onerous conditions, and they would affect people who live in the 1,800 homes if when they go for to buy a bottle of wine on a Saturday, they're told they can only have a bottle of wine in a plastic vessel. They can't buy a nice bottle of wine, and so those conditions we would be able to voluntarily adopt if, in fact, the store does become a target, if you like, for football traffic. We don't believe that this particular location will be, but if it is, then Sainsbury's does have these conditions elsewhere. So it's not unusual for, we call them football conditions, and we spent, so we have agreed them elsewhere. We comply with them elsewhere. Is that this particular location, we don't believe that they'll be necessary for every match. So we are, we're very experienced retailers. If it's felt that we do need to impose, and the police will be very quick to talk to us if they feel that we're causing a problem by selling alcohol in wine bottles or whatever on match days, and we would stop doing so. So it is based on working in partnership with the police.
Okay, thank you. The proposal for the store isn't just to sell wine, though, is it? You will be selling beer and beer bottles as well, won't you?
Yeah,
okay.
That's right, but the same applies.
Okay.
So you can get alcohol in plastic bottles, but most customers prefer even some of the beers to be in glass bottles, more premium drinks. So what we'd have to do, Councillor, on match day, we'd have to take all the glass off the shelves. It's quite a major undertaking. Everything would have to be removed from the shelves and then and replaced with plastic vessels. And we felt that it wasn't appropriate at this particular location, but we're more than happy to keep that under review, and that's a discussion we've had with the police.
Sure. I mean, I understand that there would be a requirement for you to choose to where you put glass bottles or whatever on match day. I'm not sort of suggesting that you decant everything in the store into plastic. I'm just asking you how you would risk assess and how you would and what additional measures you'll take. So please forgive me. Can I ask you?
Can I just add a little bit to that? We've got a huge crime and security team and retail response managers across the country that control certain stores by area. We're in regular contact with them about not only football games, but Winter Wonderland, Notting Hill Carnival, and the Otley Run, as me and Robert were talking about today, in Leeds. So there's a vast amount of events that go on up and down the country that are near our stores, and those retail response managers and the crime and security team are monitoring those day in, day out. So we are on top of it. We are a responsible retailer, and if it's found that this site is causing an issue, then we will revisit it and make sure that the store works for the community, and the community are not suffering with that type of behaviour.
Thank you, Joanne. That is reassuring to hear. We have 3 football stadiums here in our borough, and we are very used to issues and questions and concerns and adaptations for retailers, particularly alcohol retailers on or off premises that are anywhere near. So we do like to ask questions, and we do want to make sure that that a new license wouldn't be adding to existing issues. Can I ask you, given that you'll be selling alcohol, and we've already talked about kind of deliveries, can I ask you how you'll manage third-party delivery riders so they don't congregate or cause noise and nuisance directly outside what residents are kind of calling quite a sort of a quiet area, please?
Yeah, that would be for local management. Again, it's not been brought to my attention, and I'd be surprised if it's been brought to Joe's attention at other stores of riders congregating outside of Sainsbury's.
Can I just say that when I mean, there isn't any at the moment, that there isn't any provision to have the third-party delivery companies operating out of this store. But if there were in the future, we do make sure that the companies adhere to certain rule sets. So no idling vehicles, no congregating, not chatting, no radios late at night. So they are asked to be respectful of the community. And I've not had any complaints that come to my desk about noisy third-party delivery companies. But if there are concerns, then the community can pick it up with the manager and then feed it back to us, and we will take it on board.
Thank you, Joanne. My final question, I think, if the subcommittee here had concerns about 7 to 11 specifically, would there be any scope for to adjust the start or finish times while still allowing you to trade viably?
I think the answer to that is that, I mean, certainly Sundays are not going to be 7 to 11 because of the Sunday trading acts. I don't think it makes any difference if you were to restrict the hours somewhat on a Sunday, so long as it's not over restricted. But it wouldn't actually make any difference to anybody. But during the week, we would much prefer that we have the 7-11 because it would match the opening hours. If you restrict the hours, and you'd need good reasons in accordance with the statement of licensing policy and your own policy. So if you were to restrict the hours, that can be difficult for Sainsbury's because they would be opening the store at 7 a.m. But they wouldn't be able to open the alcohol sections, and so people coming into the store who may want to do their shopping, which would include alcohol, would be told that they can't access it. We'd have to shutter off the alcohol display area during that time. And the tills need to be given. It is a management wise. We don't sell a lot of alcohol between 7 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock in the morning. But in terms of management, it's quite an onerous matter if we are opening the store at 7 o'clock in the morning but can't sell alcohol until 8. So I would ask that the morning time not be restricted, and 11 p.m. is not an unusually late time for a store to be licensed in whether it's in a residential or mixed area. Most off licenses, of course, pre the 2003 Act, they were all 11 o'clock because you couldn't apply for a license for less than 11 o'clock or more than 11 o'clock. So 11 o'clock is a perfectly standard closing time. And I think if you were to restrict those hours, that again would cause some confusion and difficulties, because between, let's say, 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, customers coming in, they wouldn't be able to buy from us, but they would be able to go to Tesco around the corner and do all of their shopping there. So it's not just us losing alcohol sales, it's the incremental sales as well. So our request very much is for you to grant 7 to 11, 7 days a week, appreciating that it's a bit of an umbrella because the planning still has to come through. So it may well be that we don't get the planning beyond 10 p.m, in which case we would only be open till 10 p.m. So that's all being dealt with in planning. We can only sell alcohol when we're open. I know it sounds obvious, but we can only open during the hours that planning allows us to open. that's being dealt with, but we'd ask that the alcohol hours be the umbrella 7 to 11.
Okay, so from that, I'm taking that trading wouldn't be viable for you if you weren't selling alcohol for the full 7 to 11 p.m.
Well, I don't know what you mean by viable. I don't think it's part of the licensing process for us to produce a business case for.
No, it really isn't. I'm
alcohol.
just asking questions, Robert, just trying to get an assessment of,
No, I know, but
of what the business
public
is like and how adaptable, some of this is. And, I can tell you that in the past, we've maybe asked premises not to sell directly to the public and perhaps only at certain hours. And I'm just asking really whether there is anything there that the subcommittee could consider if
So
if
what do
they
you
had
mean by not
concerns.
selling? What do you mean by not selling directly to the public?
Just sorry. If I can move on and ask Charlotte, can I ask you some questions, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Can I ask you if, as a subcommittee, we were minded to grant with more limited hours and conditions around deliveries, riders, that kind of thing? Is there a kind of an agreement, a place that you would regard as reasonable and proportionate, or based on your kind of knowledge of the area? Suppose I'm asking Charlotte, under what conditions would you be happy to see Sainsbury's have a license in that store?
Yeah, so I see it very much as a big commitment on the part of the council and developers to rework this space into something that's very residential. And 9 a.m. would probably be reasonable. And I think the planning will be 2200. So, and maybe the planning will take over anyway. But yeah, 9 a.m.
Okay. So you're seeing that a kind of a 9 a.m. start would be that would assuage your fears, your concerns.
Put it this way, we had this with another applicant recently, and residents actually got together with that applicant and with their solicitors and agreed that 8 a.m. was, but this applicant is in the tube station. So, it's right on top of thousands of children walking through every day and vulnerable people waiting for shops to open to buy whatever they need early in the morning. So, this is a residential area. It's not a mixed use area in the sense of a huge amount of commercial activity. It's supposed to be a park. That's what it got permission for. It's supposed to be this concept. So that's my answer. That's our plea, really. And this other applicant doesn't close off anything. The till just doesn't allow the alcohol to whip through. And so people are explained very quickly, oh, you can't buy that now. You'll have to wait till 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is. So it works with all these self-tills and everything, just somebody standing there. There's a few signs up. That's all. You don't have to move anything. It all stays there. Very simple.
Charlotte, thank you very much. Chair, I don't have any more questions.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. You have asked most of my questions. This to Joanne, yeah. How do you plan to communicate with our residents and our local authority I know you communicated with the place. So what are your plans in terms of communicating with our residents? Like you had what Charlotte was saying, she sent a letter, nobody responded to her letter. I know that's not part of licensing, but I believe that we should communicate with residents because they're the one coming to buy things from your shop. So how would you do that for future?
Well, I have to apologise. I never received any communication asking me to talk to residents, and if I had, I would have done. But no letter came to me to invite me to a meeting.
What letter is this? Can we just check? Sorry, Charles, because
No,
Charlotte, yes.
yeah, just a second. Yeah, I asked the licensing authority to pass my details on. You know, we have this GDPR problem. So I never heard, I mean, it's that simple. Sometimes
well,
you
look,
hear
like
from
we
people, sometimes you don't.
we would always reach out to any resident that contacted us, and we do so all the time. So no discourtesy was intended there, Charlotte, at all. I certainly haven't seen that. So, but I'll look back.
Thank you. I just needed that to be cleared.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Charlotte, you had that. Okay. I think most of my questions has been answered, except on match days, and what plans have you got in place in case of you need to disperse a lot of crowd around your shop? So on match days, what plans have you got? Do you have any plans on that? I don't know where this place.
It's early days, and we're not even close to opening yet. But they will have a plan, and I'm sure that will include a security presence. But we need to work that plan up based on the experience there and working with the police and the management of the development. But we can't produce a plan right now, but I hope it gives you some reassurance that we are trading next to Wembley Stadium, actually underneath the council's offices. So we're very much in the spotlight at Wembley Stadium, and plenty of other stadia around the country. So we are used to being close to football stadia. We felt that this one didn't need the really specific conditions that were first proposed by the police, and they've accepted that, and they've accepted the revised wording. So we'll work with the police on it.
Okay. Okay. How will you ensure that on match days that young children, young people, alcohol are not bought by adults for young adults that are under 18 that want to buy alcohol, but they want somebody adults to buy it for them. So how would you prevent that?
Well, part of our training includes proxy sales and asking training colleagues in how they look out for certain signs of proxy sales. We will have CCTV in the store. We will have CCTV outside of the store. So our colleagues will be trained to look out for that type of behaviour.
In that case, I don't have any more questions because most of the question has been asked. Now we go up to summing up. Please, can I ask parties to sum up briefly as possible? And it has starting with Neil, the licensing officer, 3 minutes under that.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I have nothing further to add since my intro. Thank you.
Okay, then I'll go to Charlotte. Charlotte, you're speaking on behalf of 2 Carolines, Sheffield and Brunman White. So you have 9 minutes to sum up, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, just to clarify a few things, when I said twice a week, we often do have games twice a week here, just so you do know, partially because Chelsea women's play a lot as well. So you know, I'm not trying to exaggerate things. I think we'd appreciate it if the Stoll Foundation was taken into consideration. Again, to clarify, they moved in May of this year, and so they've been there. They're the first residents of this whole park. And there was a big opening with the MP and the mayor, Sharon Holder, and so on. So they're very much in situ. And the person they have a residents association, and they were very afraid to make a representation. And that's why I'm concerned for them. And they have ideas about what would be useful regarding when alcohol is available across the street. And so I would ask that the committee take that seriously and into consideration. I also would like to say that the licensing policy 2022 to 2027 on page 18, policy 1 makes very clear, just a minute, that applicants are expected to conduct risk assessments and so on. So I'm assuming you read the policy, and if not, it's a very good read. And I think that's why the councillor was asking quite specifically about that. Now, legally, the word expect is the legal word expect. It's not require. But as she said, you know, we're very, very, very attuned in this part of Fulham and in two other, well, especially in this part of Fulham and doubly in Fulham because of our two football clubs, and then further on up near Queen's Park and so on. So, you know, we're very attuned to what goes on in our supermarkets, our off licenses, our pubs, everything that's licensed, especially in these areas. And I'm sorry that you didn't probably see that in the policy, but it is right there, and it is the first policy. So I commend our concerns to the committee and to everyone. And I hope that you keep the children and the vulnerable in mind tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Now, applicants, you have 9 minutes to sum up as well. So.
Thank you. First of all, of course, we've read the statement of licensing policy. It would be a strange thing to make an application without considering the licensing policy, and it's there right in front of me in black and white. But there are lots of licensing policies around the country, and we wouldn't produce. We're not expected to produce risk assessments as part of our license applications elsewhere, and we haven't done in any case that I've dealt with over the last 25 years for Sainsbury's. But that doesn't mean sorry if I can finish. It doesn't mean that we don't have risk assessments. Of course we do, but they're not documents that we're asked to produce as part of our license applications. What we do have to do, and what we always do, is draft an operating schedule which has got conditions based on risk, and we put an operating schedule in as part of our application. That's a business plan. It's based on risk assessment. The operating schedule is in the application. We then responded to the responsible authorities and it was the police on this occasion that made a representation. We engaged with the police, who are the experts here on crime and disorder, and we agreed an additional condition in the operating schedule. And I would hope that the committee will respect the expertise of the police on that matter. The question of whether 9 AM would be reasonable, that's not the test under the Licensing Act, and Emmanuel will, I'm sure, be able to advise you. It's not, the test is not to ask or to produce a time that would be considered to be reasonable to anybody who may be objecting. The test is quite clearly set out in the Licensing Act, and that's that if you consider that the 7 AM start is likely to result in crime and disorder, and public nuisance, impact on public safety, or put children at harm, and if you've got evidence of that before you today, then it's open to you to restrict the hours. But otherwise, both the Section 182 guidance and your own policy allows for the full hours sought by the applicant, and that's where we're asking you to follow both the policy, which of course we've read, and the Section 182 guidance, which we've read, and comply with the Licensing Act, which asks you or instructs you to have regard to both your statement of licensing policy and the Section 182 guidance. I'm a little bit surprised to hear that a store that has agreed 8 AM, although it's kind of Charlotte to distinguish that store, that it's above the tubes, next to the tube station. It's a very different location to ours. But if it is actually in the Licensing Act that it's unlawful to display alcohol for sale at times when you're not authorised to sell alcohol. So if the store was open at 7 o'clock in the morning, but you license it from 8 o'clock in the morning, we wouldn't conduct the operation in the way that Charlotte has described the other store, by just relying on till prompts and signage. We would have to close off and secure and put shutters or screens over the license, over the goods, because the Licensing Act requires that the alcohol mustn't be on display for sale. So that's why you'll see in responsible retailers, you'll see shutters or lockable screens for out of hours. So I'd ask you to please grant the license 7-Eleven. It may well be that we, because of planning restrictions, that we don't operate the full 7-Eleven, and certainly on Sundays, as I indicated before, it's unless the government changes. They keep talking about it, and it doesn't happen. But under the current Sunday trading laws, we can only trade for 6 hours on a Sunday in any event. But we haven't chosen those 6 hours yet. That's still a decision to be taken. So I'd ask that you grant the 7-Eleven based on the operating schedule that you've got in the papers and the condition, that single condition agreed with the police regarding risk assessment. Very happy to answer any more questions that you may have. And I know that you're going to retire now to make your decision. I think that we wait, and if you've got any questions that come out of that discussion, we're very happy to answer any questions. Or if you're minded, I say this at every hearing, I'm not saying this now, I said at every hearing, if you're minded to impose any other condition or to change any condition, I'd be grateful for the opportunity to readdress you so that we deal with it all this evening. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Robert. And thank you, everyone, for now. And the committee will now retire in their meeting room. You are welcome to remain in the meeting to hear committee's decision. However, this might take some time. If you do not want to wait, a summary decision will be published on Council's website tomorrow morning. Can I ask members to mute their phone, their microphone, and move to Teams in the meeting room? Thank you.
So we're off now.
Yeah.
And we're off.
How do you see if we're on mute?
as a chair to make a decision. So
Is everybody back? Hello? Okay,
Yeah, we're here. Hello.
thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, I'm sorry for the delay. I do apologize. And okay. Summary decision of licensing subcommittee, 26 November 2025. Sainsbury, Unit 4A, Kings Road Park, Sands End Lane, London, the premises. The committee has considered an application for the grant of new premises license under the Licensing Act 2003 for the sale of alcohol off premises. The application, in summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of this case and promotion of all licensing objectives, to 1, grant the application as follows. Sale of alcohol off the premises Monday to Sunday, 07 hours to 23 hours. 2, the opening hours of the premises as follows. Monday to Sunday, 00 hours to 00 hours. 3, the licensing is subject to any mandatory conditions. 4, the license is subject to the condition proposed by the applicant as amended by the committee. 5, the license is subject to the condition proposed by the police and agreed by the applicant. 6, the license is subject to additional conditions imposed by the committee. 1, to complete a risk assessment to establish if the premises will be located in close proximity to schools and hostels and similar premises that provide shelter or services to alcohol-dependent persons in accordance with Annex 1 of the Council's licensing policy, no more than 3 months prior to the proposed opening date of the premises, and to do mitigate accordingly. 2, a responsible member of staff shall organize and accommodate meeting to discuss the operation of the premises with local residents and representative of the residents of Valor House in area within 6 months of opening the premises, and then once per calendar year. The meeting shall be advertised at least 14 days before the due date by letter to residents association and representative of the residents of Valor House, as well as licensing authority. 3, a staff member shall be able to show the police or authorized officer of the licensing authority recent data footage of CCTV on request. 4, a telephone number of manager of the premises shall be displayed so that it's visible for the public for lodge of any complaints. This license becomes operational within immediate effect. If problems are experienced, then an application for review of the premises license shall be made. A copy of this committee's full decision, including reasons for the full text of the condition added to the license, shall be sent to the parties forthwith. If applicant or any other person who has made a relevant representation is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision. Thank you everyone for your time, and thank you for watching. Good night.
Chair, can I just ask very quickly, can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Yeah, so condition 2, did you say Valor House? Did they make a representation?
They did.
So have we got their contact details? Can we provide him with contact details?
Neil, you are here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Did they make a presentation? The
Sorry?
Valor, huh?
No, I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either. So if you thought they did, and that's why you've imposed the condition, I mean, it would save us an awful lot of time if we just had to think about that one, because they haven't made a representation. I find it extraordinary that you'd impose a condition requiring us to contact somebody who hasn't made a representation.
In the supplementary agenda B, one of the evidence provided was related to Valor House, and one of the representations from Charlotte was referring to the vulnerable people that may be stated, put in Valor House. So that's what the condition is based on.
Okay, and when you say a phone number of the manager, what do you mean?
Just the contact details of the manager of the premises.
Do you mean his mobile telephone number? What
like
number?
His number, work contact telephone number.
Of
So
the manager?
if residents, pardon?
Of the manager?
Yes. So if a number where if residents were to contact, they'll be able to get hold of the manager.
It would have to be the store number, which would be located online anyway. You could not give out a personal phone number.
No, we will not request. It will not be a personal number.
You said in the condition it's the phone number of the manager. I'm sure you don't mean that.
And also the manager would move, so it would have to be the store number. Couldn't be a manager's number.
Okay, whoever that was. Yeah.
That can be amended to refer to the premises store number.
Right. Do you mind just reading out condition 2 again?
Okay.
A responsible member of staff shall organize and accommodate meetings to discuss the operation of the premises with local residents and representatives of the residents of Valor House in the area within 6 months of opening, and the premises and then once per calendar month.
And then what, sorry?
Once per calendar month.
Once per calendar month?
Per calendar year. So the first meeting will be within 6 months of the opening of the premises, and then thereafter, once per calendar year, a meeting with the residents.
Which residents?
Local residents, representative of Valor House, as stated in the condition.
Oh, so it's the residents of Valor House, not the residents of the area.
So it says local residents and a representative of
there's
the
thousands
residents.
of local there's thousands of local residents. How are we supposed to?
1,800 residents.
1,800 homes. That's probably about 4,000, 5,000 people.
Yeah, it's so great. So
where are we going to get a place to fill a number of people?
No, it's one of their manager will be present, and then residents association. It's not going to be a lot of people.
Well, no, but that's what your condition is telling us, to invite the residents of the area. Now, if it's a different thing if you're telling us to invite the manager of Valor House and perhaps the resident.
A representative of Valor, of the residents.
Representative, not the representative, not.
Well, we don't know the representative of the resident. I'm trying. Look, we all want to go home. I want to go home, but I'm trying to save us all a lot of time and expense by getting these conditions right, because otherwise, to have to go to appeal on the wording of these conditions when there's been no representation from Valor House. I mean, the risk assessment, I didn't understand condition 1 either. It's all terribly unclear to me what these conditions are saying. So you have to excuse me, it's 10 o'clock, I've not eaten, I've not had any drink, I've been sitting in this room, not knowing how long you're going to be, I've not been able to go to the toilet. So if I apologise if a little bit, but I don't understand these conditions.
So condition 2 is so the residents, you can contact a a member of one of the residents associations that's in that area, and they would be able to distribute the information to all the remaining residents.
How many residents associations are there in the area, Emmanuel?
I don't know that.
And then you can't impose that condition. You simply can't impose a condition if you don't know how many residents associations there are.
Charlotte Dexter is a resident association leader, and she's one of the representatives who made a representation today.
We're very happy. We're very happy in the first 12 months of the license to have a meeting with Charlotte, whichever association she represents. Or it's all blacked out here. I can't see the name of the association, but we're happy to do that. So because they made a representation, we'll contact them 6 months after we open to invite them to a meeting to see how things are going. Yeah. That's okay. I'm hoping Joe is going to nod at that. But to have an open invite to all the resident associations and all the residents of the area to meetings is totally impractical, and it needs to be a meeting 6 months in to see how things are going. It can't be something that goes on forever.
Okay, yeah. We take that 1 year per 1 calendar year. We take that off. Okay, within that 6 months, let there be meeting with them, and equally the manager or whoever that runs Valor House, including the Charlotte chair of that committee, which is Charlotte Dexter here.
Right, so we'll invite them on once during the first calendar year.
6 months after the opening to see how things are getting on.
Right, so we invite Charlotte and we invite the manager of the Valor House to a meeting at 6 months. And that's it. So there shouldn't be an ongoing. Yeah.
Okay. We take off.
All right. Emmanuel, Neil, are you comfortable that we can get the wording on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Neil. Right, so that's condition 2. The phone number of the store will be on display. We can get the phone. When it's pointless, people know how, it's online. They know how to contact us. But fine, okay. We can get some wording on that.
Okay.
And then, sorry, you want staff member? What was that about CCTV? I mean, the police haven't asked for anything.
Well, that's for Emmanuel.
One of conditions that we normally have for CCTV is that a staff member, upon request by the police or licensed authority, be able to provide the footage on request. You've already, some of the conditions that you've
that's already a condition in the operating schedule.
It's already in there.
It's
right. Hang on a sec.
It refers to a staff member being trained.
Page 25 of the papers. System will incorporate a recording facility. Any recording will retain and stored in a suitable place, a secure manner, for minimum of 30 days, and will be made available, subject to compliance data protection legislation, to the police for inspection on request.
Yes, police
and the police have agreed that condition.
And our licensing authority as well.
And the licensing authority.
Sorry. Right. Okay. So just change that to the police and the licensing authority. That one the condition 3, put in police and licensing authority.
Okay. Is that okay, Manuel?
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I don't understand the purpose of condition 1.
That's a risk assessment to say whether we're near a school. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and proximity to hostels and sheltered homes like Oswald. They said it's Oswald House.
Yeah, but that's not a risk assessment. The store is where a condition has got to be a license condition has got to be capable of enforcement and compliance. Why do we do a document saying that we're near? I mean, you've got a plan. You can see where we are. Everybody knows where we are. Why do we need a risk assessment to say where we are? I don't understand what the purpose of that is in licensing terms.
The risk, the assessment is how, in terms of proximity to this, if there is a proximity to a school or to vulnerable people, how that would impact those people with the sale of alcohol. So that was, if you look at our
Annex.
policy, Annex 1C, it refers to.
There's been no representation requesting that from any of the 8 responsible authorities. So if that was a concern, surely one of the responsible authorities would have said, "Can we have a risk assessment to say where you are?"
Yes, but if that's a concern of the committee, it doesn't need to have a responsible authority making that representation. That's something that's following on from the hearing and the representations made. That's a risk that the committee believe needs to be assessed.
But can I ask, what is the purpose of that? So if we do it, what happens?
If you do it and it is submitted, then if it's agreed with the licensing authority, then they will be able to move forward and have on file that this assessment has been taken in.
Okay, but that sounds, with respect, Emmanuel, that sounds like a veto, because then we haven't got the license, and it puts the whole deal at risk. I appreciate we're on live stream, but that we do a risk assessment, and you say that's not satisfactory. We can't sell alcohol.
No, it's there so that any risk that's the last part of the assessment says to mitigate accordingly. So if there's any risk that are identified that needs to be mitigated, there isn't any. We haven't put anything where it says if it's not approved, then the license is not.
I thought you just said it had to be submitted and approved by the licensing authority.
Sorry, that was during the deliberation. That was one of the considerations, but that's been removed. So if you look at what the actual condition is now, it's just to.
I can't look at the conditions. You haven't shown me the conditions, so I can't look at them.
What conditions? So the condition is to complete a risk assessment to establish if the premises will be located in close proximity to schools, hostels, and other similar premises that provide shelter shelter or services to alcohol-dependent persons in accordance with Annex 1 of the Council's licensing policy, no more than 3 months prior to the proposed opening of the premises, and to mitigate accordingly. So if there's any risks identified from that risk assessment, then you mitigate it. That's all that we are requesting.
Okay, I've never seen a condition like that anywhere. It doesn't make it. I mean, to mitigate, to check whether we've got hospitals, hostels, and schools nearby and mitigate accordingly. What are we supposed to do? Close them down?
Well, if we makes it okay, we can, Emmanuel, we can remove that.
Can I suggest, Mr. Botkai, that you just have a look at Annex 1 and just check the reading there? So in Annex 1, under Section C, the mitigation there is for specialist training. But if you look at
training
the policy
that's accepted across the UK.
We have looked at the policy.
I don't understand why Mr. Botkai is saying what he's saying. If he reads and understands Annex 1, what it's asking for, the paragraph is simply asking you to abide by Annex 1, and specifically in that regard.
Which page? So I've got policy 1. Is that what you're referring to?
Annex 1 of the policy.
Look,
Annex 1.
We all have had a long day. Let's have this. Yeah, we have had a long day.
So Annex 1 has got lots of. Annex 1 has got about 20 or 30 requirements.
C.
Right,
so Annex 1, page 35. 1.
Okay, I've got it. So operators of off licenses in areas problems That doesn't make any sense. I don't know who's written this. Operators of off licenses in areas problems relating to street drinking and underage drinking are prevalent. It's not even written correctly. Measures should be outlined to strictly monitor the way alcohol is sold. But the police have not raised it. We've had the discussions with the police. We've got an operating schedule.
There's no evidence of street drinking or antisocial behaviour in that area.
I think if you read it, it asks you specifically to run an assessment within 3 months of before prior to opening.
No, it doesn't actually.
I think you'll find that the paragraph does say that. So the intention, Joanne, is just to give you a chance to just check what the situation is before you open. At the moment, it's really just a kind of a building site. So you get to check, you get to do an assessment, and then just bring in extra training if that's required. It doesn't seem like an extraordinary request, and I think it will really help the residents feel reassured that you're taking it seriously and you're putting in the right training that's needed for the area at the point when you open, rather than the area as it is right now.
But
Councillor Daly, it doesn't say what you just. It doesn't say that. Yeah, sorry, Joe.
We've already gone through our training. Our training has been given assured advice by a primary authority, which is Oxfordshire Trading Standards. So you want
then you're fine, Joanne. You're absolutely fine.
We've already got that. But
so
then
it's just asking you to do that assessment, and I'm sorry if that feels unreasonable.
No, it doesn't feel.
That's concerning if that does feel unreasonable.
No, it doesn't feel unreasonable. It's just that we've got those measures in place. We've already got those measures in place.
Then there's nothing to worry about, is there?
If there's a condition on our licence and someone from the council,
a long day, we can take that number 1 off if that's okay. When they have meeting with the residents within 6 months, if there's any issues or concern, we can come back to that. Is that okay with everybody now?
Right. So what condition? So just so that we can be sure what's being, because so the only condition being imposed now by you is the condition to meet, offer to meet with the Residents Association. That's the only condition. Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel.
And the staff and the telephone number. Okay.
Yeah, so it's 2 conditions.
Yeah,
and then
3.
To amend
The CCTV, our officer, and yeah.
That's just amending the condition. Yeah.
Okay.
Emmanuel, do you want to send me the wording to me tomorrow, or Neil? Yes. And then I've got a hearing at 9 o'clock, but in the morning, and the rest of the day I should be okay. So if you could just send that wording through to me, and then I think we're there. But thank you very much.